Welcome to the Scuba Goat podcast with Matt Waters. Let's dive right in.
Lyndi, let's have a catch up on. In fact, not even before we've got to catch up on what's going on so far. Let's have a quick refresher for those people that have not listened to your first podcast. Shame on you if you've not been there, but go back and check it out. Lyndi, what is it we're going to talk about? What do you do?
What do I do? Oh, goodness. Thank you, Matt. What a great question to start off with. So I do a lot of scuba. I spend most of my days underwater, which is the best place to be, really. Essentially, I run the Scuba Gym, which is a not-for-profit, and we take disabled people with challenges, physical or cognitive, and we exercise them underwater. And the exercises can either be physical or they can be for the cognitive or a mixture of both. And the benefits are truly out of this world and exciting and amazing for everyone. So that's the Scuba Gym.
Yeah. And that's
not only
that's
that, but we...
Go on.
I was going to say, we also cater for those incredible human beings who've put themselves out there, those in first responders and veterans who may have come home with stuff like post-traumatic stress. We've got a program especially for you, which is called our Scuba Warrior program. In fact, on Friday, and Matt, you're welcome to join us if you can get in the water yet. We got another Scuba Warrior cleanup dive happening on the Central Coast with the help of our incredible team, our Scuba Warriors, who are made up of my volunteers and also our veterans who have trained through us to be divers. And now we dive with a purpose. We are an incredible tribe, and over 5 tons of rubbish has come out of Brisbane water, mate, including 3 motorbikes.
How many trolleys? It's insane.
Some of the trolleys we leave because they've become little reefs, and that's not cool to take them out. They actually make quite good reefs. So if they're old and they're in a reef state, we leave them. In fact, there is one more motorbike which we're leaving because it is so covered, and it's probably best that we leave it there. But yeah, we've had some great fun. We've had it is a workout. So the Scuba Gym is a workout anyway, but pulling bicycles out of the water is hectic. It's very physical. Not just that, even plastic bags. People go, but it's a plastic bag. Yeah, until it's full of sand. Then it's a heavy plastic bag. I mean, you've got 100 of them. It's very heavy. So we work with Clean for Shore, and they help us with their barge to get rid of all the crap that we pull out of the water. And why does that make a difference? Why? Why should we? People can't see it. The general public don't know that rubbish is down there. But if we leave it and it keeps accumulating, it's going to make a hell of a mess for our kids when they grow up.
Well, that's the problem with everything that's oceanic, because those people that don't go into the ocean and dive, free dive, whatever, they don't see the impact under the water. So what's not seen is not thought about.
Correct. And so with the help of Clean for Shore and their big barge, we get the public interested because those people walking on the beach, walking their dogs, they take photos. They love to see what we're doing. And it's the best treasure hunt, truly.
Do you have a little competition so you can come up with the biggest or best?
Oh, we found a 95-year-old beer bottle because they got date stamps on the bottom of them. So that's the oldest one. Reka found that. I've found a lovely bracelet. I find jewelry often. I mean, it's all a bit corroded in places. I've got an ankle bracelet from a prisoner.
Oh, really?
I have an ankle bracelet from a prisoner. It's been sliced and chucked in the water. I think it's in my training gear in the training room. But yeah, I mean, how much fun is that?
That's awesome.
It is awesome. So yeah, we've it sounds weird and crazy, and it's a great day of fun. We also break bread afterwards. Part of the Scuba Gym is the family, the tribe that we have created, and it's a special place to be, as you know, because you've experienced it, to be with those people who actually want to do something to pay it forward. And we all get something out of it, even if it is a funny bracelet or a ankle bracelet from a prisoner, which provides many laughs for my students. So what? Makes a difference.
Yeah. Well, for those that haven't listened to the first episode, shame on you. The Scuba Gym, I first chatted with Lyndi 2 years ago now at the TEDx, I think it was. And then she came on the show, explained everything about Scuba Gym. And I actually got involved and been up and, watched, kind of helped out a few times. And then, we've gone on and assisted with getting the first disabled divers in at Sea Life in Sydney for doing shark dives. So it's just progressing more and more. Now, through the first show, we had a number of people come forward as volunteers to assist with Lyndi. And correct me if I'm wrong, Lyndi. I know a couple of them, but was Mark already with you, or was it
Yes.
the impact of he was with you already?
Yes, Mark's been with us for a long time, yeah.
And then there was, I think, Amanda and Reka's come and seen you a few times now, and Trevor. I'd like to just touch on Mark, actually, because he's one of your veterans. And I think
he is.
What he's doing is obviously under your tutelage is just remarkable.
He is an incredible human. Yeah. So Mark was a copper, and he was given early retirement because of post-traumatic stress. He used to ride motorbikes up and down the highway, and amazing police officer that he was. But post-traumatic stress, unfortunately, got the better of him then. And he chose, that was 11 years ago, I think he said the other day, it was about 11 years ago. So fortunately, he found scuba. And I'm going to say it helped the process, because it's certainly not a cure. I'm not going to be saying that at any point for any of what we do. It is a way to process. It is a way to grow from where you're at in life. And for him, and for people with post-traumatic stress, getting into the underwater world and getting into an environment that we weren't supposed to be in without a breathing apparatus on our back or as a free diver, and to stay there for a long time is truly life-changing, and it puts you very much in the present moment, in the here and now, which stops trauma. So you're not standing upright unless you're diving incorrectly. You should be, in the scuba position if we've taught you well, or if you've been taught well. And it's a very different, out of this world feeling, being an aquanaut and being able to turn yourself upside down and not worry about bumping your head on the ground because there's no gravity. And for those of us scuba divers who've dived for hundreds of years, you get this. But for the people who may be new to it, it's incredibly therapeutic. And he has put everything into it, to be fair, and he's now a very qualified instructor. So Mark went from becoming an open water diver and just charged through, and he's even a technician. He works alongside the fabulous human who services all my gear, and he's learned from Les how to be a technician, which is amazing. So he's in a fortunate position to be able to do that, absolutely. But he's put so much back into it, and needless to say, he comes regularly on Mondays to help. He helps on our cleanup dives as well when he can. We often have social dives early, like a Friday morning at 7. We're ready to go and we're in the water just before work starts, So we're driving back and the school run is still happening, and we've done an amazing 1.5-hour dive at the Haven, and we've seen grey nose sharks, or we haven't. But we've just done something to start our Friday off differently to most people. And Mark has instigated a lot of those, and he loves it. And he's also on my board. I love that he's such a contributor to what we do, and I invited him to be on the board and help out in a bigger capacity, and he accepted graciously. And I'm so glad, because we have a great friendship. He teaches for me as well, so which is great because it gives me a break, which is important. You've got to sharpen the saw. And he's so very good at his teaching. I'm very grateful and blessed to have these people who have found me in many ways, and I've found them. But the scuba gym does attract a great type of person to it, which I'm hoping we'll have more people listening to this going, take me. We'd love to. Please just reach out. So there's a great story. And if you caught NBN on Thursday last week, we were on very quickly on the news, and Mark was on it too, which was super cool. So that was exciting. But you did gloss over the aquarium dive. I think we should talk about that a bit more.
Go for it.
Because in the last interview, I hinted that this is what my plan was. And for those people who are fans of ours and follow our social posts, we've done it. For those who are new to this, it was the first time that the Sea Life Aquarium in Sydney have allowed any disabled person into the shark tank. And they've allowed us to help with that, because it was my idea initially, and we continue to do that. So the first day we were allowed to take 4 people in, 2 people in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. And thank you, Matt, because you had said on our last interview you'd help out, and you, true to your word, and a dear friend came along with a wonderful human to help us, Stefan, who filmed for us, which was amazing.
Yeah.
And just capture the energy of that amazing day, because it was, as you and I know, it was so exciting for the 4 fabulous scuba gymmers who came. We had a brain injured, we had autistic, we had a lady with Elsa with MS, and we had Corey who had cerebral palsy.
Yeah.
All very different. So what an experience for them, and life-changing, because I know it's life-changing for them because they come back and they're a different person from it. Nathan, for example, you should have seen how often he'd whip his phone out, or he'd tell me he's been showing all his mates that he's been on telly. He's been on the news and at work, because he works he's got a brain injury. And for him to be on television doing something that the majority of the population are too scared to do, it's empowering. It's so good for them. So the ripple in the pond has spread far.
And it's not just good for them as well. It's not just good for them as well. I mean, everybody that helped out there, I'm sure most of the guys that were at the aquarium as volunteers and the staff there as well were possibly a little bit apprehensive and unaware of how the day was going to go. But it was absolutely electric. I think everybody involved got a huge amount of joy from the entire event.
Yes, and I did cry a lot.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for your video. It was, and you know, that's a good thing, because it meant so much. It was amazing that the aquarium allowed us to, and their team were fabulous. We all got on really well. We still get on really well. And Reika, that's how I met Reika. We were in the ladies' change room afterwards, just, you know, putting our makeup back on after the dives, and she opened up and said, "Hey, I saw what you did when I was living in Italy, and then I came out to Australia wanting to meet you because I knew about the scuba gym, and then lockdown happened, and she was devastated that she couldn't get involved because she lived in Sydney and I was up here and couldn't get in the pool, etc., etc." And so what a huge, I don't know, not coincidence, just a coming together of people. But for her, and for me, it was great because I've got a new friend who's so capable, who's a fabulous instructor, who's come up and done cleanups with me, who's helped me with Indiegogo fundraisers, and wow, it just blows me away. And you never know, Matt, what comes out of events like that, or even a podcast like this. It's just I am so grateful that we had that amazing connection in the dive show, that we were able to do our first podcast together, because lots of people have heard it, lots of people have forwarded it on to people, and it's amazing. I'm humbled, really.
Well, it's one of those things that, you know, it's the modern way of excuse me, it's the modern way of getting things across, because I don't know, if you're anything like me, I don't do a massive amount of reading. I don't have the patience for it. And just finding something to listen to in the car, for sake of an easier example. You know, I don't like the crap that you get on standard radio anymore. So having something to listen to that's got a topic and it's got something of interest, it works wonders. And like you say, it doesn't die. You know, people forward it on, and I look at the downloads per episode, you know, going back now 3 years, and they're still climbing. It just continues to grow, you know.
And
so it's a fantastic
tribute to your work, mate. Well done, you.
Well, it's just me telling people, listen.
No, it's you finding interesting people for us to listen to. So thank you.
Yeah.
It's,
well, Reika actually is one of those. She's one of those, like, those little angels on your head. Wait, when's the next one? When's the next one? When's the next one?
Excellent.
But she's listened to them all now. She's up to date. So season 5, here we go.
Excellent. That's brilliant. Very, very cool.
Now, continuing with the scuba gym, we have some exciting news, do we not?
We'd like to say we have some exciting news. We would love to. We have got a pool up in Newcastle. Mm-hmm. Newcastle people, phone me, call me quickly before we don't have that pool, because winter's coming and it's outdoor. So I had people lined up for it, and life happens, in weird ways, especially in that sector, with challenges. So, yep, we are good to go. We just need to have a certain amount of clients up that way who want to come and jump in with us.
Okay.
And the pool is fabulous. The Beresfield pool is a fabulous outdoor pool. So I'm excited for us to use that. We've got, I think, till the end of April. So, and I've only got a couple of clients at the moment. I just need more than that to make it worth jumping in my van and driving an hour each way to get there. The other exciting news, though, is we may well. I'm working with Donna Davis, the member for Parramatta, Labor member for Parramatta. If anyone who's listening to this has any connections who can help, please get in touch via myself or Matt. Please just get in touch. Because the SOPAC, Sydney Olympic Park Aquatic Centre, has a lovely deep diving pool, which we used when David came out here. There's the time with Elsa, we were in that pool. It was amazing. I have asked them several times if we can use their pool, and they've said no. We can't have scuba diving in the deep pool, which is a real shame because it's not scuba diving per se, it's therapy. And we're not teaching people to dive, and we're not banging our tanks on the tiles. We have rubber boots on the bottom of all of our tanks. We usually take one person at a time, depending on their disability. We might have 2 or 3 team members around them. You never know, depending on how much work they need. We would love to use that pool when it's not being used. Between the school hours, 9 and 3, it sits empty.
Is this a local, what's it called? It's not a private pool. It's
a community pool.
Government.
It's an Olympic Park.
Community pool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why they're saying no then?
They don't want scuba divers in the pool. So I presented what we do to Donna Davis, who has taken our case in a letter that I have written to her as she instructed, just describing what we need, what we do, the benefit we provide to a huge community of people, the disabled. There are that many disabled people in the Western Sydney areas. It's incredible. And a lot of people won't get in their car or can't get in their car or can't be driven up here to us. So if we open up in Sydney, and I've approached many private schools and they're all saying no because they're too busy, honestly. There is a pool that's sitting empty predominantly for most of the day that is for the community, but we're not allowed to use it, which is rubbish. So
what can we do to raise awareness of that then? How can we actually force the issue?
Well, that's a great question. And again, if people have connections at SOPAC, I would love to meet them because I have been up to the manager level as far as I could get. That's why Donna's going to jump in at a different level and say, how can we help this community of people? So just for those people who forgotten or don't remember or haven't heard the story before, David is the founder of the Scuba Gym over in the USA, and his son became a quadriplegic at the age of 11. And it was because of diving and taking his son, David Jr., into a pool and exercising him underwater that the Scuba Gym began, because David Jr. is no longer a quadriplegic. So everyone sit back and take that in. He's no longer a quadriplegic. He can move. He can walk. He's considered a paraplegic because he has no feeling on the left-hand side, but he can drive a car. He can run. He can dive. He's a scuba instructor. He's got a great, incredible PhD. He's an amazing man who the whole family are fabulous humans. And here's an opportunity for us to make a difference for people with challenges, physical or cognitive, because we already have had some amazing stuff happen for us here, even with the closures and stuff. So this is an opportunity for us to help a large group of people. Western Sydney, Northern Sydney can get to us much easier if we're over there because of public transport, of course, as well. The train station's right there. We just need to be allowed into SOPAC, into the deep pool, and leave the rest to us. We'll bring the team. We keep it safe. We use public pools up here, so really there should be no reason why they won't let us use their pool.
What's obviously I'm not an Aussie, not got a blue passport yet, so I don't know what the acronym SERPAC is. What's that?
Sydney Olympic Park Aquatic Centre.
Okay, and I'm assuming you've got NDIS involved?
No. No. So the NDIS, we're not registered with the NDIS. I was advised not to. There's two reasons for that. A lot of the people who use the NDIS have funding from them. They are being encouraged to go self-managed, which means I won't need to be. It's only if clients have their plan is all managed, and I don't have any all managed clients. And if I do, you know what? I make a plan and I will make it happen for them, because one, it's rubbish, and two, I'll figure it out. It's on me. So if I get a whole bunch of all managed clients out of this interview who say, come on, Lyndi, let's do it, then that's on me. Go on. Yeah. I dare you. Come. So in terms of, grants, I mean, we got to get grants. I've got a friend who, it's a not-for-profit. It's run by volunteers, predominantly myself, but I have my team who are incredible, who always are encouraging and do their bit to help. One beautiful friend has offered to start writing grants for us, applications. I'm actually going to go to corporate world, because I think from the experience that I've had and talking to other people in the same predicament, there's an art to grant writing, and it is tiresome and it is hard work. And I think corporate world would be way more responsive if I said, you know what, if you threw X amount of money at us, this is what it will afford, and we will put your banner behind all of our divers for all of our videos in that period that you sponsor us. We're a not-for-profit. It's in their best interest to be seen to be contributing to an organization that is making a difference. And that's what we're doing. So here's an opportunity to do that. I'm hoping that that's a route forward that will be a better route forward for us, as opposed to sitting around waiting for grants to be accepted by people who look at it and go, well, she spelt that wrong, or that's not how you should say it. That's no. You know, you get a word out of place. No.
Hey Scuba Goats, let me share something pretty fantastic with you. A while back, my eyes started to give me some trouble, and it made it hard to focus on my camera screen during dives. I tried countless DIY fixes to attach glasses to my mask, but it made no change to the quantity of blurry images I found in my camera roll. Then I discovered Osbob Scuba at Sturdy Eyes Optometrists in Mona Vale. Rob Hamilton and his team have been crafting custom scuba masks with precise prescriptions for over 35 years. And I'll tell you this, their mask lenses are tough. I've put mine through the ringer for almost 2 years now, and it's still going strong, capturing awesome shots with virtually no blurry camera roll images post-dive. So, if you're struggling with vision on your dives, check out Osbob Scuba at Sturdy Eyes Optometrists. Get yourself kitted out, capture some awesome shots, and don't forget to tag me so I can see the results. Stay focused, my friends.
My glasses, just to keep it real. Hey, now we same.
Mate, I've got these things on that I don't know if you can see it. Hold on.
Oh my! Okay.
I've got this bloody the breakable magnet.
Oh my gosh!
Just a temporary.
1050. Jesus.
Oh, tell me about it. Now, I went and saw Bob over at Osbob Scuba yesterday, because my eyes have decreased in strength again over the last couple of years. So he's upgrading the lenses in my glasses, and I've got two pairs. You know, obviously a main and a spare just in case. But it's now got to the point where if I'm driving, I can see very clearly ahead of me, thankfully. But trying to see the dials, and if I've got the Apple map on the go, then I can't really read the text. I've got to put some glasses on. So he's sorting out some driving glasses for me, which are a different kind of lens. And then there's some readers that extend out long enough so that I can see past my nose and up to 10 meters.
Yeah.
So that left me with no eyes, effectively. So I've got these things, and they're already annoying me. I've only had them 24 hours. But they'll do for on a dive boat when you just want to be fannying about with the camera, you know.
That's right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Excellent. Very good.
3 weeks of torture with these things. But anyway,
very good.
Yeah. Now, where were we before that annoying little break occurred?
We were talking about Sydney Olympic Park and getting in there and being able to run 1 day a week in the Olympic Park deep pool would be outstanding. It would help a lot of people. We've also got interest from some organisations who are keen to see what we do and team up. So there's a big opportunity here for anyone who knows someone at Olympic Park or can help us to get in there. Please jump up and say hi, because we just need a pool. And then whilst I've got a business case that many members of Parliament have seen about a pool that we need. It's taking its time in coming, and it may well, I'm seeing it in my head and visualizing it being done. It's taking a little while to find that pool. So in the meantime, let's use what's there. And Olympic Park is there, and it's fabulous. It's deep. It's a deep dive pool with high dive boards and perfect for what we need. So that would be amazing to get in there and use that facility. And for them, for them to be part of the team.
Do you think it's the only thing that springs to mind for me? Well, three things spring to mind. One is the fear of having disabled people in a pool, and they might get sued if something happens. Mm-hmm. Number two is give us the cash. They want you to pay.
They are going to insist on cash, a lot of it, which is another problem I have.
Yeah. And number three, a stubborn management that just won't see past their nose.
Yeah. And if they could look past their nose and see how much fun we've had and how good we work with the local council, and we get to use our Central Coast pools and how accommodating they are. We have to pay. We're not getting out of any money. We have to pay for the pools and and the lane hire by the hour and all the people who come in. But at the same time, they're also part of the team. They let us go in pretty much when I need it, if they can accommodate us. So I've run courses, and suddenly it buckets down, it's raining, we can't go to the open water, and we'll pick up the phone and say, Shane, is there any chance you've got a lane free at X amount of time for a few hours? He goes, just come. And they make it happen for us. So, it's what it should be. It's about helping a bigger cause again. And I know it sounds like an old record now, but it's a value that is so important in this day and age. Rather than being isolated and being on your own, let's join a team that wants to do something that is bigger, and everyone benefits. And that's the weird but true side of it all. Everyone does benefit from, even the volunteers who are qualified divers, who are helping to lift somebody into the pool for me, or helping to put the gear on, or just being my eyes while I'm working on their feet. Watching that rig doesn't fall out of a quadriplegic's mouth, because they can't put it back in. Paraplegics can, but if the rig comes out of a quadriplegic's mouth, I'm dependent on my team being very aware and very onto it. And having that responsibility and being part of the machine that helps somebody to be better is an energy that you can't buy at Woolworths or Coles or in a can at a bottle store. It is something quite special, and everyone has access to it, and everyone can be a part of it. And people who volunteer for their social clubs, their surf clubs and their Girl Guides and Boy Scouts and stuff, they know what that's about. This doesn't come with the politics, though. Ford and I take care of that. You just get in and get wet and help us out, and bring your dive gear and get some diving time in. And that's why the Scuba Warrior program is a success in that regard, is that we teach you to dive, to qualify you as a diver, a great diver, in a small class. And you don't have to go out and buy your gear and be stuck waiting. You can come and dive with us for nothing helping at Scuba Therapy Days. So you're still practicing your diving. You've got a bit more responsibility now, especially if you're on my eyes while I'm working with a quadriplegic or an amputee, or, but that's how you grow. And that's what, if you're not growing, you're dying. We know that expression. So this is about helping people to be more and to be better. Everyone gets to benefit.
And that's the thing. I mean, you get a kick out of assisting someone, and if it's linking in with a hobby that you love as well, clearly scuba diving for us lot, then you do come away refreshed, rejuvenated, and ready for those little challenges that come every day in everyday life. So I agree, 100% benefits. I do want to paint a picture. People. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I do want to paint a picture, though, for people that might not have seen that, they're listening for the first time or whatever. But when Lyndi, and I'm going to reflect on my experience the first time that I went up to watch or stand around clueless as I was, and see what was going on. Now, I do recall, and forgive me, I can't remember her name, but there was a lady that had a motorcycle accident, so she was in a wheelchair.
Yes,
and
Charlotte.
This was, I think, maybe the second one that I was watching just underwater. And we're down maybe 2 meters, 2.5 meters, whatever it is. And if you can imagine, there's no fins on. We have, what was her name? Sorry, Charlotte.
Yes.
Yeah. So Charlotte in a standing position, I'll say, with Tony, who is Lindy's assistant or co-worker, whatever you want to call him, team member, and he's holding linked arms with Charlotte face to face and focusing on Charlotte herself and communicating by sight. And in the meantime, we have Lyndi, who is the guru of physio, holding onto Charlotte's ankles behind her and then making the legs move in a walking fashion along the length of the pool. Now, this in itself I thought was impressive, but I think maybe 15, 20 minutes into the session, you could, if you focused on Charlotte's legs, you could see that her feet were getting whipped away by Charlotte's body wanting to move without the assistance of Lyndi. That's the picture of what Scuba Gym is to me.
So, thank you. So, a paraplegic actually taking steps for herself is, for those people who haven't seen or no idea, just think about that. Like, they've been told they're going to be in a wheelchair for the rest of their lives. And now here their legs are. And Charlotte's not the only one this has happened to. This has happened for us, for a few people. Matt comes as well. Matt is our also quadriplegic, beautiful human. I think he's taller than the pool is deep. He's an amazing man. And yeah, I was amazed as to how there's spots that I was triggering that were making him take the step.
Mm.
So if we can, it is remarkable. We just need to do it more often, and that's where we need our own pool, ideally, or another facility or another 2 facilities, and be able to allow people the opportunity to come more. But yeah, that's what David taught me in the States to do, is to help these people in depending on how they present their diagnosis. There's another gentleman who came. He has post-traumatic stress. This was an incredible journey, Matt. I don't think I've told you about Gavin. He was trembling, so didn't serve, another trauma in his life. He never served for the country. And he's a fabulous human being. He was sitting waiting. He got there really early and trembling. He said, "Look at my hands, I'm shaking." I said, "That's okay. People get nervous. I call it excited. But, if you want to call it nervous, just think it's the same symptom, but a different name. So let's call it excited. Your hands are excited to get in the water."
Yeah.
We did a session with him the first time. The second time he came, I had one of my teammates, Riley, helping me out, and just being in the background, because his body was, I would say, so programmed by his trauma. Logically, he wasn't able to walk forward. He was moving over in one direction, like over to the right-hand side, and still shaking. So I gave him some dumbbells to hold. Well, that'll sort the shaking out. We'll stop shaking. So we're heavy. And we worked together, and we did all sorts of weird things, because it was weird, and it was something I hadn't done before with anyone. And it was an amazing journey to see how he straightened up. He held himself up. Riley didn't have to hold his tank. This is a man, an able-bodied man in his 30s, I would say, who was paralyzed by what's happened, by the trauma that's happened, and it's affected his whole life. And here he is, finally standing upright and standing in his power, or some of it. And by the time we came up after that second session, he said he was in awe, just a bit blown away by it all, as I was. And I said, "Wow, what a journey that was, mate," because it was very full on. He's an able-bodied man, and I needed him to get into, to feel what it feels like to be in the water, but also to be standing upright and strong. And just, it was amazing. It was amazing to be a part and to be witness to that for Riley and I. Was, wow, he really pushed himself. He pushed himself constantly. Like, he didn't fall back into an old pattern. He knew what he wanted, and he was going to overcome it somehow. And that journey for him was amazing. And for me for us to be a part of that was an honor. It was quite a privilege. So it's just, and each person's different who comes. Charlotte's doing well. She's doing other stuff at the moment because the temperature of the water got too cold for her in winter. So that happens a lot for our quadriplegics and paraplegics. So we have to figure out a way. Again, if someone's listening and knows of a great way we can heat them up other than popping them straight into the hydro pool at the end, even then they get out of the hydro pool and the temperature drops quickly because the air temperature is cold. So we need to almost get them dressed in a sauna. But that's not our job. Yeah. We don't do that. That's the carer's job. So so it's just about, helping them to their bodies to function as they used to in some cases. Not normally, because I don't think normal is a good word to use. Just to be able to function healthily, so that where people can't wriggle their fingers and toes, we can help them to heat up in a different way, so that they can benefit year round.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that story there. I think it highlights quite a few things. For the obvious example is being underwater is taking away gravity and all those issues. But I think that example there of him having his first efforts of going into the water is taking away his focus on those trauma or those traumatic events that he's had in the past and focusing on the here and now, which is probably what a lot of PTSD sufferers do struggle with. Yes.
And the NDIS is funding people with PTSD, so we welcome people into our therapy who have that not just the funding, but it's not about the funding. It's about coming forward and saying, I want to grow, I want to be better. And I want to do something that takes me out of the normal, which it does. Let's be fair. It's going to take you out of the normal and into a world of possibility. And it's also an opportunity to put your body into an environment surrounded by people who are there to keep you safe. But it allows your body the innate ability to surprise you by what's possible when you take the bull by the horns and go, no, I want to be better. And that is what we found with all the people who have had amazing things happen for them, like Megan, who's our incomplete quadriplegic who caught the ball. Yeah. How does an incomplete quadriplegic catch a ball? It's on video. You can see it. It's, and then she pats her cat who sat on her lap. She's the first time she's patted it in 3 years or so. She's not supposed to have the ability to do that according to the label that she's been given, but here it's happening. So hope is a strange word for some people. It doesn't mean anything, but I think it's powerful to give somebody the hope. But I think the body has an amazing way of surprising us by what happens. And that's the gift. And it's what's in the box, what's going to happen for me. Well, put yourself out there in order to get the present. You've got to put yourself out there in order to get the present. And then see what the present presents. And you know what, it might just be the present moment. And that's okay. The present moment is a special place to be. It's not in the past and it's not in the future where a lot of us go to. Oh, wouldn't it be better if... No, let's be here and now. Sorry about that noise. Someone started his boat engine. I think the neighbours just got back with his boat.
Lovely chap. That's all right. We'll be able to sort that out. But I've got to add in as well that, for those guys that are, suffering with PTSD, you don't even need to be, in my opinion, you don't need to be registered with PTSD. I'm not. But, I've got a lot of traumas in, traumatic histories that come back and haunt me a lot. However, when you go under the water, everything stops mentally. The thoughts, the noises, everything. That's the beauty for those guys that are suffering mentally.
The freedom.
Yeah.
The freedom of that.
It's just making that silence occur in itself. Is a godsend.
Absolutely. And the relief, and just, it's like letting a little bit of light into a dark room.
Yeah.
And then you let a little bit more in, and a little bit more in. And then suddenly you're seeing a lot more. And we have one of our veterans, Ray, who also was made early retirement. His journey is incredible, how took him a while. He'll tell you, it took him a while to come to the table, or come to the pool in our case. and he's a qualified diver, and he helps regularly on Mondays. He comes to our cleanup dives. He's a true scuba warrior and a true example of what the vision that I had and how incredible this young man has turned his life around with everything else he does. I'm not, but he's bought all the gear, Matt. It's so cool. He's like, look what I've got. I've got the regular and I've got the... This is a guy who was, he said he was sat in his room for years, just not moving after, and everyone's different. So my uncle, for those people who don't know, was in the Zimbabwe war, and they were ambushed and his jaw was almost entirely blown off. And the anniversary of that day has stuck in our family, so much so that 15 years to the day, his first son was killed in a horrible car crash. So PTSD doesn't just affect one person, it affects the whole family. Because 3 years ago, on the day after, the 23rd of November, the 24th of November, his other son had a huge motorbike accident. So my two cousins, so Trevor is still alive, my youngest cousin, but that's, of all the days of the year, it could, come on, they can't say that's coincidence. That has affected the family profoundly. Yeah. We lost Lee, which is terrible. He's a beautiful human, as is Trev, and we still have Trev, which is fabulous, thank God. But I get it. We know there's a Royal Commission out at the moment on the suicide rate in veterans. We know that. Everyone knows, well, not everyone, but those people who are interested know that this is happening at the moment. So if people know people who, even first responders, anyone with post-traumatic stress, doesn't have to be a veteran, come, get in touch and say, hey, I just want to be better. Help me. Yeah. Because that's really where it begins, is there. So,
and you never know where it's going to lead.
No. And even if you're in a different state, I have a fabulous friend as a result of what I do. We actually haven't even met in person yet, but we have many conversations. He's huge fan of ours. And JP is very excited to be on board and help us out. And he's down in South Australia. So, I've got people reaching out to me from around the country. Every so often someone will say, hey, let's have a conversation. And yes, we want to grow the scuba gyms, but I need more people to help me to do that. So in the meantime, there are other people who are doing similar things. We will grow. It's coming. It's coming.
Have we got, just thinking from the medical aspect, have you got opinions from doctors here in Australia? I'm assuming they must refer some of their patients to you if there's funding coming through.
I haven't had referrals directly. I have had the neurosurgeon for the MS crew, and I say crew because a whole bunch of my clients were patients of his, and I met him in person, and I think we talked about this in the first interview, and he was very complimentary, and he knew what we did because he knew his patients, and they reported back to him what they had done, and he could see the results in these ladies. He could see them because they go and see him every so often for their checkups. And he said to me, keep doing what you're doing, please. Just keep doing what you're doing. So he can't write it down, but he can tell me, and that matters because that gives me hope and kept me pushing on through a very, very hard time of getting it off the ground through all those crazy lockdowns. But we've been going for over a long time now, nearly 2 years that we've been going non-stop, which is huge. So I'm very excited that we've kept that track record and growing our sites. Newcastle is just there. It's just needing a few more people, and we'll be in there. We do have another pool we can use in winter, but it will be cold. So I'm pretty sure we won't have any physically challenged people coming through winter because it's an outdoor heated pool. And when you get out, even when we get out in wetsuits, we might have to do it in dry suits.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, my word. Add to the complications. Unless the Forum let us use their pool, which the Forum is the university pool up at University of Newcastle, and it's very busy too. If it's possible for us to get in, that would be amazing. Again, we need maybe some physio students up there who want to do some research on us, can help us get into the Forum. It's about people taking action, not just people who are in wheelchairs and people who want to get better and be in the water. It's about other people going, hey, I might not be a diver, but I know so-and-so, or I can help in this way. And that'd be amazing to have. I have people seeing us down at dive sites and saying, that's your van. How, I'm an instructor. How can I help? That's amazing.
Yeah.
People are coming to help me that are in the area, which is that's what it's about. It's about that tribal mentality of when you can, that's brilliant. We've had 2 students from the high school up the road who come and help us as well because they want to be Navy divers and they want some bubble time. So they've learned to dive through us and they help on Mondays. Well, Zach has been very regular since December helping, and he's lucky because he got to meet Ray, who is our Paralympian. Ray Anderson. Yes, she has cerebral palsy. She's another beautiful human, does an amazing job of sharing her story where she goes. And yeah, she's Paramatilda and Paralympian. And Ray, if you're listening to this, I won the soccer game that we had underwater, the watermelon ball game. I won. Just because you're a Paramatilda doesn't make you the winner underwater.
Not that you're competitive at all, Lyndi.
No, only when it comes to Paralympians.
Yeah.
Or Paramatildas. I'm just excited that she came. It was amazing to have her to come down. We met up in Newcastle at a disability expo, and I said, "Come, have a go." And she came a few times. It was really cool. And anyway, Zach, I was talking about Zach. He came and he was helping that day. He got the chance to meet our very own local Paramatilda, Ray Anderson, to go, which will be fun. Just got some interesting people and challenges again with the disability community and helping and having the right weather and the right everything lining all this, the planets aligning to make these things happen is sometimes a struggle. So now I let go and let it happen, and it will. And so hopefully we'll be able to get Lucille into the pool, into the tank, who is has a complex cerebral palsy case, but this is her lifetime goal, is to be underwater with the big sharks. And if we can't do it at the aquarium, we will make a plan and see if we can get her into our local waters with a big team around us. It's worth doing for her.
Yeah. No, good on you.
Thank you.
Hey, have you considered getting on the after dinner speakers circuit?
After dinner speakers, really?
Yeah.
I would love to. I've always been into professional speaking, so I'd love to.
Yeah, that would be a great way for you to raise the funding you're looking for.
Wow, funny you should say that, my friend. That was on the cards at some point, but after dinner speakers I hadn't thought of. Cool.
Yeah. I'll ask around. I don't do it, obviously, but it's
yet.
Yeah, but it's something that I think you could gain a lot of traction with, and with the story that you've got, it's phenomenal. So, I think the perfect way of linking between raising awareness and finding money is at these such events where corporate businesses are holding events and wanting people with such, remarkable stories. So get into it.
I will. That's my goal. Thank you, buddy, for that big nudge.
If you've not done it in 4 weeks, I'll remind you.
Yeah, I know you will. Thank you. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
So what else? We've also, I went over to the States last year. That was pretty cool. I got to hang out with David. Yeah. And get some more training, which I love because I get so much from being in their company, with their team, with their people, with their tribe, with their clients. I get to talk to their clients, and they obviously have seen what we do because David has us running on the TV monitor in his shop all the time. That video is on repeat, which is beautiful. So it's quite funny, actually. Having gone over there and people going, I go, "Hi, I'm Lyndi from Australia." Oh, it's you! And we had great fun. I met Freddie. Gosh,
Freddie?
Freddie in the US is I mean, I'd call everyone beautiful because they are. He had a motorbike accident years ago, and he was his legs were pretty mangled, and is an old school friend of David's from school. And David approached him a while back and said, "Hey, dude, you must come. This will help you." And it took a while, like it's been a few years, but he finally last year committed to coming. And from being, he's a big man, and he was in a wheelchair and a scooter, and now he walks on sticks. And his catchphrase, because of all the work he's done with David, is "It's working." He comes up and he goes, "It's working." And we took him into the shark tank at Epcot, which is one of the big parks over at Florida, because that's where the scuba gym is in Florida, in the USA. And we managed to get Freddie into the shark tank, which he was terrified of. And it was so much fun, myself and David. And it was just, we had such a ball. Because it's massive. Their shark tank is huge. Like, you're allowed to go fitting around on your own. It was the best.
Well, it's America. Everything's
it
bigger,
is.
isn't
I
it?
know. I'm sorry. Yeah, everything's bigger over there. Anyway, it was super cool to be able to be in that journey with him, and yeah, he was very excited, and even then was just the chemicals in the body after something like that have got to be massively beneficial to the whole body. Like, they've got to. And people say, well, what does Scuba Gym do? Well, number one, we're going to increase the oxygen content in your body, the absorption of oxygen, especially if you've been sat in a wheelchair for ages. And if you're pumping oxygen around the body a lot more, then expect surprises from your body. Expect it, because it's going to happen, especially if you're consistent at it, especially if you put the time in. And Freddie's evidence of that. I mean, the guy is amazing how his body is recovering from this horrendous injury that he had, and from being in a wheelchair to now walking. His legs were pretty messed up. It wasn't that he couldn't walk, it was just the pain, and he was being a big man. It was incredibly painful for him. But being underwater in a weightless environment, we're able to do stuff. We even got him doing a somersault, which was super cool. So, those are the things. Those are the things that's the part that everyday people don't get, is the chemical reaction within the body, the endorphins, the hit that you get, how beneficial that is once you've done something that is taking you out of your comfort zone. That's where the growth happens. That's where back to healing. The healing happens. Or I don't want to use healing. I'd rather use growing, because let's move forward. That's where it happens, and that can't be understated. Because our bodies are incredible. I mean, we're all a miracle that we're even conceived. Really, let's be fair. And so let's trust that divine intelligence that's out there. And you have to be doing something different. You have to change a routine. You have to do something different in order to experience that. Whether it's horseback riding or jumping out of an airplane or coming underwater with us, there it is.
Just get it done. Yeah.
Get it done. Make it happen.
Yeah. And it's, I harped on about it, or mentioned it earlier on, the mental well-being that you get out of it, simply by being underwater and not sat in a wheelchair, and the freedom of being able to not have that weight on your arse all the time. And
absolutely,
the compression.
Seeing your knees moving. Imagine it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And having fun.
Standing up. The parasympathetic kicks on. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. When, the body, your core starts working. It's sat in a chair all day, your core's not going to work. But put in the pool, your core kicks on straight away. It has to, because it's in water.
Yeah.
It does it.
Yeah.
You don't even have to think about it. It does it. It's like breathing. It just happens. And you get that working for you, and then suddenly you don't need two carers to hold you up in the morning to get dressed, because you can hold yourself up. And that sign for yourself is evidence that it's working, as Freddie says. So,
well, we should point out to those people that are listening that you are a qualified physiotherapist as well, don't you? So you administer a little bit.
I'm not a physio at all.
Oh, what is it you do then? What's the?
Neither is David. We're scuba therapists. Don't be saying it, because that's part of the deal as being on team. There's all sorts of things that David has figured out.
Yeah.
And we're not exercise physiologists, and we're not physios. We're in that mix, but we're neither of those two. So we are very qualified instructors, and we have knowledge about exercise and body, and we apply our own approach to healing. And like that story I told you about the gentleman with PTSD and how he was trembling, that was nothing I had learned from David. That was everything that was in the moment that I went with, and it was phenomenal. And I think that comes from experience of doing the work that I do with all the different types of people that I do. It's not something that I would recommend everyone go ahead and do randomly to people, but it does encourage people to start, if they haven't already, tune in more to what the little voice is inside. Just listen. Take time out to listen to that little voice inside. not the one that says, go and get some ice cream out the freezer. That one's not your little voice to listen to.
It's very much a holistic view on treatment and ever evolving. Is that right?
Very much so. It is an ever evolving holistic view on treatment, and it works because we have that many people that we have a track record. David Jr. being the first person who, the most significant too, from becoming a quadriplegic to now being a paraplegic. And that's not the only person that David's helped to walk again. So people with MS, people with other different injuries. So holistic approach is how I would call it. Yeah, it is a holistic approach. It's out of the box. It's not Western. We're not on allied health because there isn't what we do on allied health. So we can help people who have lifetime care. Absolutely. We can help all people with disabilities as long as our dive doctor or their doctor allows them to be underwater. So there is a medical that they have to do, even though we're in a pool. We absolutely have to run a medical. And if you tick some boxes, I will refer you. It's really that easy. And our dive doctor is fabulous and he loves what we do. So if you're local to our area, I will certainly recommend him. Otherwise, there's others who are fabulous dive doctors too, I'm sure. So there is that process too.
Speaking of dive doctors, did you ever speak to Simon Mitchell?
I did not.
Oh, why not?
I would love to. Did
I introduce you?
No.
Oh, there's the failing.
There's the I think Galapagos stole your attention for a long time there, mate. When you headed off to the Galapagos, like, that's so unfair. And so fair. You deserve it.
Okay, Simon Mitchell, I shall introduce you.
What a great podcast that was. I listened to it. It was very interesting.
He's amazing, isn't he?
Very cool to consider that he wrote that dive medical. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. If anyone's got the authority to say how good things are, he's the guy that writes, that says yes or no to go diving.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Very, very cool.
Well, I got, what was I going to say then? Oh,
I don't know.
Oh, yes. Just a little update for you and anyone else who's listening right now. A lot of people asked about the podcast being on YouTube. So being, getting grey in the beard, I'm putting myself through the torture of putting videos up on YouTube. But then YouTube have recently updated, I've seen the update where the podcast itself can go directly onto YouTube. So I did it yesterday. And literally every episode from the podcast has now gone onto the YouTube channel at the to like 30, 40 minutes to upload or whatever it is. But it's all there. And
congratulations.
I didn't have to do any edit any videos whatsoever. It's fantastic.
That is very cool. That is very, very cool. Well, we're doing another cleanup dive this Friday. If anyone local from afar wants to join us, they're welcome to.
They'll miss it. This won't go out until, for a couple of weeks.
Okay, then that's fine. Yeah. Well, there'll be more.
There'll be more.
Month.
There will be more.
Absolutely.
And by that time, I should be repaired as well. So hopefully I'll be able to get back up and see you guys and have a bit of fun. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Indeed. Absolutely. What else is coming up? We've got, we've got the next aquarium dive, which I'll let you all know about when it happens. It's just a little bit more complicated, with a very much more complicated case, but that's okay. That's where we grow, by finding new ways.
Yeah. Hit me up.
Oh, I will. Thank you, buddy. That was, I will. Definitely will. We did do another one last year. We did do 2 in the end, and Christmas was too hectic for us to do a third one, unfortunately. But it was super cool to be able to go in again. It was so good. And Frank got to experience it, and Kayana got to experience the joy of being in there with the tanks. And Kayana has autism, and she's a regular. She loves coming. And her mum sent me a picture that her little sister, who's much younger, I think she's in primary school, had drawn, because her little sister came to watch, of course. And little Lavinia had drawn this picture for school saying that she wanted to become a diver because she wanted to dive with the sharks. So it doesn't just affect Kayana, it affected her little sister too. So that's special. That is so special.
Yeah, brilliant. How is just thinking on, we're talking about the thermal impact on the divers. You got a few items from Shark Skin. How did that go with them?
Shark Skin and I have a great relationship. I go up to Dive Newcastle, for those who don't know, up in Beresfield. when and as much as I need to and raid their bargain rack of wetsuits, because I go through them a lot at the school. And also when I told Shane what we were up to with regard to the aquarium dive, he was very gracious and gave us lots of gifts for our divers. They all got a set of gloves, and I got a brand new shark skin set as well, the titanium gear, which was very, very generous of him. In fact, I was showing it off in the States when I went there. I was wearing it in the pool at the States. So it was very kind of him to come to the table. Of course, I buy shark skin gear anyway because we need it for the pool. And I think I'm a great fan of Dive Newcastle. I recommend to all of my students to get gear from them because they're very kind to us. And I'm most grateful.
I said that I've got literally over my shoulder here somewhere is my old shark skin attire, which I think I started with in maybe 2014, and it lasted well. But I Shane, again, good old boy that he is, sent me through a full set of the titanium T2s to try out when I went over to Jordan last year, and then subsequent trips and Galapagos, etc., etc.
Yeah.
I can't rate it highly enough. I think the stuff is absolutely phenomenal.
It is.
Just being able to, in fact, of the 15 dives I think I did in Galapagos, there was only 3 that I actually put a wetsuit on. The rest of the time I'm in shark skin. It's insane.
Well, I'll probably wear mine in August. I'm over to Thailand. Probably take it there.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's so much lighter than a wetsuit.
Whereabouts you going?
Krabi.
Okay. You won't need, you'll definitely not need a wetsuit.
With Paul Tuma and the crew.
Get out of it, really?
Yeah, do you want to come?
Oh, that's going to be messy, isn't it?
Very messy. It's a big birthday party we're celebrating, so it's going to be so much fun. A big reunion of a whole bunch of very dear friends getting together. And most of us dive, so it's going to be absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
So there's that. I have to. We talk about shark skin and their gracious kindness. I have to take my hat off to Apollo as well as Ocean Pro, because we have done what we call a scuba experience. It's for our veterans, particularly the RSL clubs circulated and the legacy group circulate our experience. And one of the RSL clubs or the sub branches will come to the table and fund it, and it gives people in their sub branches the opportunity to experience scuba. So it's like I hate the word try, but it is like a try dive. And both Apollo and Ocean Pro have sent us masks and snorkels as gifts. We give the gifts to the veterans or to the participants who come. My team will come, all the instructors come, and we buddy up and we give these beautiful people the opportunity just to feel what it feels like to dive for free. Yeah. And hey, you get a mask and a snorkel to go home with you, so that when you do learn to dive, you got your own. How cool is that? So it's no skin off their nose, really, because there's not that many, but they are kind enough to do that, and head off to them for their kindness in that regard, because I will be coming back and asking for more as we do more of those. And once or twice a year is not that often, really. So yeah. In the well,
make sure you send me the links, and we can easily put a link in on the show notes to this episode, just to direct people over to their website, give them a bit of a boost.
Oh, sure, we'll do.
Not that they need it, but it's you've been gracious enough to give stuff away, so why not?
And on that note, I know that some of the questions that you may have tucked away ready for me, which we've answered a lot of already, would be, how can the dive industry change in some way? I think let's put this out there to the dive industry, especially the manufacturers, because this is something that I've had a bugbear about for years and I've reached out but got nowhere with. When you are sending your brand new gear to your clients, let's not put it in plastic. Come on. I pull out that much plastic out of the ocean. We are at the dive industry. We shouldn't be contributing to that problem. We shouldn't, because we're the ones who see it. So, I know that Ocean Pro use boxes that are recycled. I can't speak for all the manufacturers, but it annoys me no end when you see all this dive gear coming in and it's covered in plastic. It's like, what the hell? Come on, everybody.
Well, it's literally, you've hit the nail on the head, because I received a package yesterday. We're replacing Jazz's wetsuit, and surprise, surprise, it's shrouded in plastic, which I'm like, it pisses me off.
Yeah.
And this is a big retailer. And then lo and behold, when you open it up, they've sent the wrong freaking size. So not only has it been wrapped in plastic, it's now got to be sent back, and that plastic will go in the bin. And the new one sent out with more plastic, and it's relentless and pointless.
It is relentless, and we know how much. I mean, just where we are, the entrance to the Ettalong, when the Hawkesbury rains or when we have floods, from as far back as Windsor. If you know the map of Sydney, if you don't know, just quickly get Google Maps out. Look at as far back as Windsor, the Hawkesbury will bring crap from that far down and chuck it up our way. And we can prove this because we've had a horse end up on our beach after a big storm. A horse. And he was tagged from a farmer who was the other side of Windsor. So we know the horse started off swimming, but he ended up asleep on our beach and went to horsey heaven. But yeah, so, it's just rubbish. It's the wrong word. It's rubbish. I was underwater the other day in Patonga and kicking something, going, what the hell am I kicking? There's a wheelie bin. Yeah. So that's the one thing I would ask. I would encourage so many, just please, let's just move away from it. Dive manufacturers, just package it in something else. Paper bags. At least if they go out into the bush, it doesn't matter. The paper bags will disintegrate, but the plastic won't.
I mean, there's enough companies out there now that are offering alternatives, isn't it? And it might add a bit of price to it. Well, I'm sure they can work around that and probably put the prices up on the products that they're sending out without taking a piss.
Yeah. If they're a bit more conscious about what's going on the planet. Yeah. It is a big
Speaking
problem.
of, a lady comes to mind that you know now that does cleanups the same as you do.
Sally.
Old Sally. Yeah.
She's a champion. We got awesome, on so well. Gosh, we had a fun dive together up at, what's it called again? Talabudra Creek. Yeah, it was super cool. Super cool to hang out with her and do some cleaning up there.
Yeah, bless her.
Yeah, and great interview. Thank you for that.
Are you ready? Let's do 10 questions.
Okay, go.
Ready? All right. If people don't understand it already, but how would you describe your job as a diver to people who are not familiar with the activity?
With the activity of scuba diving or the activity of the scuba gym? Okay, so
I think diving, because you do hull of a scrub as well, don't you? So
I do all sorts of diving work. How would I describe what I do? Gosh, it's taking myself into a different environment to make a difference for other people, essentially. And in many ways, it's physical because their bodies change, or it's mental, physical. It's all areas, spiritual even for some. So I use what I love doing. My passion is diving to help other people and the environment.
Hey, did we have these questions last time you were on the show?
We did not. We just got carried away with our chat.
Awesome.
Oh, okay. I didn't rehearse.
That's all right.
I promise you. I can't even remember one. I just knew there was the one about the difference to the dive industry. Okay, go. Next one.
All right, next one. Can you share a memorable diving experience that stands out to you as the best you've ever had?
Oh, God, there are too many. The most memorable, I would think, would be playing with the manta rays in Belize. We were same dive crowd who are going to be in Thailand together, and Paul and myself, Paul Toomer and I, were the last ones back on the boat. And as we got back to the boat, our friends already on it were saying, look behind you. And then we turned around, there were these two baby mantas behind us. So we went back underwater because, we've got a bit more air, and we carried on diving, much to the dive master's irritation. And the manta rays turned around and went off. And so we turned around and came back, and they turned around and came back. And we had this game of to and from, playing with them. And that was just magical for me. That was so special.
That's awesome.
Then we ran out of
air. And then got told off. Yeah.
And then got told off. Oh, well.
You can take it for good experience. If someone wanted to pursue a career similar to yours, what advice would you give them?
I would say never give up. If you have your heart set on something as kind of crazy as what I do, don't give up, because keep finding ways to make it happen. Because people will say, and I am going to agree with this because it happened to me, people will want to stop you. And sometimes these people are closest to you. And so if you believe in your heart of hearts, that one right in there, that this is what you want to do, then just focus and do it. JFDI. There's another F word you could use, but let's go with focus in case there's children listening.
I think I passed that one on to you, didn't I?
No, seriously. I mean, and don't be afraid to do something abnormal, not follow the norm, which is what I did. I didn't follow the norm because it was desperation, honestly. I just wanted to work around my kids, and that's how I kept diving every day and how I ended up cleaning boats, because it paid the bills. It meant I had the flexibility. I still have the flexibility to be able to go, I've got to get to the school for a meeting, or I've got to take a child to somewhere for something, and I can. And tomorrow I've got to make up for it. Doesn't matter. At least I was there for my kids, which for me and my children are the most important people in my world.
Yeah, yeah. How long have you got left until they fly the nest, though?
Don't say that. That's horrible. They're not going to fly. Okay, they might. My son is 16 on Friday.
He's a big boy.
He is a big dude. You know that he's a big dude. He's a beautiful human. He is. And so he's got 2 more years of high school, and then who knows?
Yeah.
At least he can dive, so he can always travel around with his dive certificate and go, hey, I can fill a tank.
Yeah, gives a job.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, my daughter might be the one who does that. But anyway, who knows? Who knows? At least they've got a great skill. They've got a wonderful skill that they can use.
Yes, yeah. Okay, has your passion for diving or your industry, much the same really, changed over time? And if so, how?
It has. If I look at my life from when I first started diving and to now, I would never have thought back then I would end up doing what I do now. And I think it's again about trusting yourself. And just I remember thinking we should have disabled people in the water way back when I was first introduced to diving, and I was just beginning, and I was just finding my way and getting every opportunity to dive that I could think of, or I was made available to me. And now it's an everyday occurrence. Sometimes it's nice to be out of the water. Some weekends I don't need to go for a swim in the ocean because I'm drying out still. But I think it has changed, and there is the gift about our ability to be creative and to use, not just follow the norm. Whilst it has helped me tremendously to be a dive instructor for many reasons. One, I've taken the time to do the work. And being an instructor for 4 different training agencies has helped as well, because I can see different ways of learning and different styles of learning. But then I also have a neuro-linguistic learning background. So I've worked with children. So I have that helping me as well. So it may not happen instantly, but don't lose sight of, and keep that passion if that's what you want to do. If you want to be in the dive industry, there's all sorts of different ways that you can contribute and earn a living even from doing what you love. And that's because in this country, we don't, certainly in New South Wales, we don't have often the best weather to go diving. And people go, oh, come on, it's Australia. Yeah, the sun's out, but the viz might be crap. And it has been recently a lot. And it's summer. We should be diving a lot. In fact, we find it's better in winter unless we have massive storms. And we all know we've had a lot of massive storms over the last many years at crazy times. So it's about being, looking at other ways. Where else can we dive? Do we need to use the ocean? Maybe we need to go somewhere else. So I'm looking at those opportunities at the moment. Can't say anything at the moment, but, one day there might be something somewhere else.
So inland.
Maybe.
Okay. But you can't say anything at the moment.
No, but have you heard about the beautiful oil rig that's now converted in Sipadan? I want to go there. Has your travel company got a... Come on, let's go there. Come on. Tell Jazz. She's got to come. We're going to Sipadan to dive off the oil rig. Oh, not this year, next year maybe.
I can't point out more great places to go diving with Jazz. She wants to do them all.
Oh, good. I'll talk to Jazz then. We'll go there.
Yeah, no, not yet.
Not yet. Well, no, but so the point is, it's about being, creative. How else can we do this? Like, really? I'm in a pool helping people to feel and be better. And I'm working with disabled people. I had no idea that was coming way back then. No idea.
Yeah. Well, mate, life takes its changes, doesn't it? And you just got to follow what the route gives.
follow what you love as well.
I
Unless
mean,
it's ice cream.
the only reason I'm in the dive industry is because I went on holiday. After the military, I had no intention. There was no inclination to be in the dive industry whatsoever. I was going back to the UK with the intention of opening either my own cycle store, which I'd already put a deposit on holding a retail property, or entering into the financial sector in Canary Wharf and becoming a suit.
Oh, God.
And lo and behold, you go on holiday and your brain kicks in and goes, oh, fuck it, I'm going to stay here on the beach and go dive in and teach people how to dive. And
yep.
what a fantastic move it was.
What a great move.
Yeah. And it flies by. When you're having fun in your job, it flies by the time.
Yeah, it does, right? It sure does. And it keeps you fit, keeps you healthy, keeps you outdoors. There's so many incredible benefits from it. And because we're lucky, we can travel with it more so than when I first learned 100 years ago. But even then, it was acceptable. Around, it wasn't unaccepted. But there's more opportunity. I just think the gear is not as expensive. It lasts so long if you look after it. If you don't look after it, well, that's up to you. And there's always ways. I'm so blessed and feel incredibly lucky to have received a lot of gear, being given, not just to be given to be passed on from big companies like Ocean Pro and Apollo and Sharkskin, but people will message me, ring me up and go, oh, you're the lady who does, I've got some gear. Do you want it? Yeah. I'd love it. I have no clue what condition it's in. A lot of it I have to chuck out. But it's them being part of a bigger picture in their way. And it helps me. And I've got, as you've seen, heaps of wetsuits that don't get used much, but eventually they will. I've given a lot away as well because it just makes sense to. That's human nature, though. That's about our own being part of something bigger as well. That's special. So
it's tribe culture, isn't it?
It is tribe culture, which is what it's about, which we have to get back to and not be on our own in our little bubbles. We're all one. We all need to be, more connected to nature, and that is what diving does for us all.
Okay, is there a particular conservation effort that you are passionate about, and if so, which one and why?
My Scuba Warrior program.
Of course,
and working with the fabulous boys at Clean for Shore and their team of merry men, because we are making a difference to our local waters by cleaning the crap out. We pulled a table out with a glass top on it the other day. I promise you, mate, it was easily over 1 meter by 1 meter square, easily over, like bigger than that. And I thought it was a ladder, and I'm throw the rope over, and we throw the rope over, and up it comes, and it's a glass top table. Right. Like, what are people thinking? Yeah. To chuck that in the water. I know, I get it. When camp chairs fall in the water off the jetties, I get it. The wind blows and they land in there. That's happens. And some people don't like to swim, or it's too deep, or there's any excuse not to go and get it. So I understand why there's some stuff in there. But televisions, you don't put a telly in the water. Sorry. You don't put boat batteries in the water either. That's just wrong.
Lazy bastards do. Lazy people who can't be arsed taking them to the dump.
I think it's important for everyone to have a way locally to make a difference, even if it's getting one of those poo bags when you're walking on the beach that are all over the beaches for the dogs, and just adding little bits of plastic to it. Just that each time you go to the beach, because it annoys me no end when you see footprints down the beach that people have walked their dogs and not even bothered to bend down and pick it up. And you never know what you find. I found the most beautiful nautilus shell on our local beach. Like, I thought it was something plastic bent down, and it's a nautilus shell. We never get those sorts of shells. So I'm not saying it's going to happen every time, but just make a difference. Just a small difference will help in the bigger picture if everyone did it.
Yeah, fair one.
Yep.
Okay, of the many safety procedures we have in the industry, if you had to choose one as the most important, what would it be?
Safety procedures. I would say, safety procedure. You've got me there. Breathe slowly is a good one. The panic and the staying calm and the breathing slowly, I can't stress that enough for people, and that comes with experience of teaching and also being in a very safe environment in the pool. The initial reaction in a panic is to go straight up And if people, the safety procedure around just breathing slowly and focusing on your breath, the profound effect that will have on your diving and of your being is enormous. Nice and deep, slow breaths is where you will save yourself a lot of panic and a lot of error, because you're taking the time and your brain has enough time to think through situations, whatever the situation, the danger, whatever the emergency is. If you are breathing slowly and you are relaxed, the initial scary factor, people go straight to the surface. Not cool.
It does work as well. I had a
what, going to the surface?
Staying underneath, but
yeah,
I had a laryngospasm underwater last Christmas.
Where do you get that? Sorry,
the Christmas before, huh?
A laryngospasm.
Yeah, so it's when the vocal cords slam shut, and you have a major difficulty trying to get any air in and air out, for that fact. And it does make you kind of gasp at trying to inhale rather than exhale. It only lasts about 30, 40 seconds or something like that. And I'd had a couple on the surface before over past events. But this one happened underwater at 24 meters.
Oh.
And it was the first time that, being a dive pro, you practice for all eventualities. So, I've had out of air scenarios before and it's not been a problem, blah, blah, blah. But the fact that I couldn't breathe in properly was the first time I got an argument going on in my head between the fight and flight and the dive professional. And the dive professional saying, stay where you are, don't be stupid. The fight or flight is saying, I need to be up there, let's get the fuck out of here, this is a bad situation, let's go, 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 go. And it was a mental battle for about 30, 40 seconds. But those 30, 40 seconds feel like 10 years.
Yeah.
And just being able to stop and think about what's going on. And I knew that breath would be coming eventually. So wait for that breath to come and then sort out the scenario rather than let's get out of here.
Yeah.
But it was the first time that I would say it was the experience of panic. I imagine that's what people would feel like when they're panicking. And it's not nice.
No. And there's lots to be said for learning to free dive.
Yes.
Lots. Because you have to hold your breath, which is counterintuitive to diving. But you do learn that you can overcome that gag reflex, which says take a breath now, when you haven't got a regulator in your mouth. And you can and you overcome that, and you can be without taking a breath for, I think myself and my mate managed 2.5 minutes without a breath.
Nice.
Just lying on, just in the practice before we went in the water. So training your body to cope without that is where you'll save your life and probably others, not probably, but possibly others, just by having that confidence and taking the time to breathe slowly and breathe through it, or have the mental capacity to not bolt, because that's where the problems come.
Yeah, indeed. I used to always teach stop, think, breathe, act.
There you go.
Stop what you're doing, think about what's going on, take a breath, and then act on it.
Very good.
Yeah. Okay, so on a lighter topic, what are your top 5 bucket list destinations?
So we've talked about Galapagos, and that's definitely on there. Sipadan, the oil rig, I'm just curious. I just got to go there. I would love to go to the Antarctic and see...
Oh, really?
Oh, come on. I think it would be cool. Cold. Or would I? I don't know. I'm like, it's there and it's not there. It's like, I'm in cold water a lot anyway, and freezing water, maybe not. Do still want to go to Mount Gambier.
I think there's cold and there's cold.
Yeah. Mount Gambier is appealing because it's really not that far in Australia for us. It just takes the training. So for those who don't know, Mount Gambier, you have to be a cave diver. You have to have the qualification. You can't just go, I'm an instructor. No, they're going to say no. They're going to say, go and get your cave diving ticket and then come back. And that's good. I like that. That's very good. Not that I'm big on going into the ground and with a rebreather or anything, but I do want to see it because I believe it's spectacular.
Yeah,
so, and I still haven't been to the Great Barrier Reef.
Really?
I know.
Really?
Naughty girl. No.
Oh my word!
One day.
Oh,
One day.
I'll have to-
If Steve Bates
Well,
is listening, he'll get me up there.
well, let me enlighten you on a little idea that I've got.
Oh,
Nomadic Scuba's website is almost complete and it's coming. One of the
yes.
arms that I want to do with it is have dive professionals that want to actively lead their own trips stroke expeditions to locations around the world, rather than just doing a generic, go with this dive shop, go with that dive shop. And if you're listening, go with dive shops, they're great. However, having a team of dive professionals that are going to be working for themselves independently with the assistance of Nomadic Scuba to assist with all the logistics, etc., and the payment plans, etc. I think it's the way forward for our little, ever expanding network of people. And for those people that jump on those kind of trips, once you're on one and you find that dive professional that ticks all of your boxes to make such an exceptional group holiday, you just want to be doing it again and again and again.
Yes,
so everyone's a winner.
Yes,
Everyone's a winner.
That's
and
outstanding.
The operators that you go to have a rapport with the dive professional. There's no difficulties. It makes for easier planning. There's so many positives to it. So that therein, Lyndi Leggett, I want you to be on that little team.
Yay!
People that want to lead expeditions around the world. And no, you're not going to the Antarctic.
No. All right then. Can I go to Superden? That sounds amazing. Thank you. I'd love to. Definitely want to. And I also know that we've had the conversation around helping people with disabilities who are divers or who want to dive the opportunity to do the same. And I have to say, the first thing that is an issue for them is the cost for us all. So we will figure out, or maybe someone else will help us figure out how we do that. I know that one of my clients is actively putting a grant application in for him to take myself and maybe another teammate to be his dive buddies so that he can dive somewhere beautiful where it's warm. So that would be amazing to be able to do that and share that, not just our own local waters, but other. This is just so incredible, the ocean, and there's so much to see of it, which we all know as divers. Doesn't matter how many or how few sites you've done, once you're hooked, you're hooked.
Well, just make sure that your man that's putting his grant together to go on an expedition, don't forget Lady Elliot and Peter Gash.
Yes, that's
right. Because they're welcoming with open arms.
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
That would be a great location.
It would be outstanding. So I'm envisioning and bringing on all the grant money that's going to come, that we can help people to go and live fuller, better, healthy lives and make their difference if they've listened to all or some of this, make their little contribution from their benefit from diving, from whatever they've got out of diving, whether it's inspired them to make a film with weird characters in that they've seen from creatures underwater, or they just want to dive more and buy the best fins and the best gear. I don't know, whatever it is. Just Frank is one of our divers, and he went off and he wants to go spearfishing now. He's got all the gear, and he's an amputee, and he's done amazing. So it is possible. Good. Let's just make it happen.
Yeah, JFDI.
Yay. Thanks.
No worries. Okay, so how would you describe the dive community to a non-diver?
So anyone who dives is out there. We're not necessarily fringe people, but we love an adventure. So we love an adventure and we love to explore. I have to say that for me is who I am. All of me is an explorer. If I look at all of my life, I was the one climbing the trees and climbing up mountains and doing that, because it's an exploration. And even in the work that I do with the Scuba Gym, it's an exploration into helping someone else to be better. And it involves me working on myself too, to be more able and helpful to them. So diving for a non-diver is get out into life and get out on the skinny limbs of the tree. Stop holding the trunk of the tree and get out onto the skinny limbs, because that is where the fruit of life is. And that's what we find when we scuba dive. And I speak for every scuba diver who's done it and loved it. and say that that's why we keep going back, because it's a journey, which life is, and it represents for us being in another world where anything's possible, and you get to see and witness such beauty, or not. Sometimes we've dived and it's like this. Again, expect surprises. We've had the most magic moment where 2 cuttlefish or 3 did their dance, which only happened for a short space of time, and the divers before us and after us missed it. But we happened to be there at the right moment in time. And if you believe in those sorts of synchronicities, then you're going to love diving, because that happens a lot.
Yeah.
It does happen a lot, like crazy. And that is where your juice comes from in life. And that's what powers us forward every day and gets us out of bed and, gets us motivated to go somewhere new and do something else and enjoy another aspect of the ocean.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I think I rambled a bit.
No, it does. Yeah,
okay,
lovely.
Good.
Lovely. So thinking about the pool and when you're busy at work and helping people move, all that kind of stuff, I'm going to put it out there that if anyone's listening that is pretty nifty with a camera and making reels and stuff like that, and fancy assisting Lyndi and promoting what she does with the team, and you've got the time spare to be active online on social media and stuff like that, reach out. Even if you're a kid at university that's got some sort of program that you've got to run through, where you've got to design something for online, get in touch, because all of that kind of stuff is what's going to make the awareness of the Scuba Gym grow. And in turn, the knock-on effect will be that we should be able to entice, some financial support for the excellent work that everyone's doing up there.
Thank you so much. That would be amazing. That'd be beyond amazing. It'd be super cool to have more people coming forward. And a tribute to the first podcast we did. It was such fun, and we got a lot of. Amanda's joined our board as well. She heard the podcast and got straight on the phone, and it's just it makes a difference. And that's what it's about for me anyway. And if you're in tune a little bit with that, come and then feel what it feels like and see what happens underwater and see their faces when they get out of the water and how the joy that they've had by exercising underwater. It's amazing.
It is indeed.
It's worth getting out of bed for.
Yeah. And on that merry note, I think we'll round out the show, Lyndi, and it's time for lunch for me. And you can get on with your hectic day. Are you getting back under the water this afternoon?
I sure am. It looks like it's raining up here where we are, but I'm going back underwater. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Go and hang out with the fishes.
Thanks for listening, folks. And hey, the Scuba Gym is a not-for-profit and relies on the support of all involved. If today's stories have aligned with your beliefs, if you want to get involved, if you have a business that is searching for a good cause to support, then get in touch now. Let's continue to assist people in realising their dreams with the Scuba Gym. Ciao for now.